Hello! It is late May 2022 and Scott and I are in Kentucky's Red River Gorge about to set off on what's planned to be a 3-day backpacking trip. This is my first ever visit to Kentucky, therefore obviously my first visit to the Red River Gorge, where this is Scott's home turf. He's put together a nice route for us over the next couple of days and we're excited, ready to hit the trail. Our trip has started off with a climb up the rough trail. We've now got a pretty view looking out into the Red River Gorge. Making our way toward Gray's Arch. Big set of stairs coming up. Standing underneath Gray's Arch. Can probably promise you that's a lot bigger in person than it's gonna look on camera. It is a really cool structure here in the Red River Gorge. Another set of stairs along the rough trail. We're making good progress on a pretty day today. This is our water source for the night. We're gonna fill up here before we climb up to Hanson's Point. Got our water gathered. Now we're making our way towards camp, closing in. Rough trail is cutting to the right, and we are going to the left, heading out to Hanson's Point, which is our aim for the night. Home sweet home. We've made the camp for the night. Close to Hanson's Point. Got a nice spot up here in the woods. We're going to get set up and start to enjoy the evening. On this trip, we're using the outrageous map set of the Red River Gorge. Let's take a look at the map for day one. We started at Martins Fork, followed the rough trail to come through the Gray's Arch scenic area. Really cool to see that arch. We continued and followed the rough trail for most of our day today. So we came to this intersection and headed towards Hanson's Point. We're now set up camp in this area. Day one was a little under 5 miles. About a quarter mile from camp is the spectacular Hanson's Point. We've been hiking all day to get up here. The view certainly does not disappoint. The Red River Gorge spread out below us. Really awesome to see this beautiful view up here. Well, day one of our backpacking adventure in the Red River Gorge has been a great day. I've really enjoyed hiking out here so far. Scott's been showing me around, getting to see some beautiful forests, some babbling brooks, great rock structures, and Hanson's Point just was pretty much a breathtaking view for me. But all that, and the highlight of the day, was a random sighting. I have one family member in Kentucky, my cousin Marina, and she was actually out here hiking as well. We didn't know we were going to run into each other. So it was really special to see my cousin out here randomly. We've got camp set up, we've got dinner in us, we're settling in for a relaxing evening. And that'll be the end of day 1. Good night. Good morning. We made it to day 2 of our backpacking adventure in the Daniel Boone National Forest. We had a reasonable night last night. A bunch of whippoorwills were hollering all around camp, but we made it through. Not too bad, and we've got a beautiful view on Hanson's Point this morning. The fog has been undulating throughout the valley, coming in, coming out. It's made for a good view for us to drink some tea and drink some coffee. Today we've got in the 8-mile or so range cutting through the gorge, and we're gonna end up in the Indian Staircase area is our plan. So we're gonna enjoy the last few minutes of this beautiful view, and then it'll be time to get packed up and hit the trail. Later on today, we're going to be coming through the bottom of the valley here, and we're going to make our way up to Cloud Splitter and enjoy the view there for a little bit before continuing on our way. So that's part of our plan for the day. Backpacking tip 101. This is not an effective bear hang because bears can climb trees and reach. We've just come back to the rough trail from our spur to Hanson's Point. It's a beautiful morning for us so far. Scott's finishing up some breakfast on the trail on the move. We've now come to the Sheltoe Trace, which is going to run concurrently with the rough trail for a little bit, and we'll be on this for the next several miles of the day. We're climbing up away from the river. I've got my boots back on. Scott was trying to toughen me up with a couple miles of croc hiking. Not quite barefoot, but taking a step at a time. This is Jump Rock along the Red River. Bunch of people out here enjoying the Memorial Day weekend and splashing down into the water. Oh, did a trick. We are about to cross the Red River on this big suspension bridge in the sunlight. Crossing the road, climbing up away from the Red River. Starting to get a little hot on us here. Yet another staggeringly large rock formation in the Red River Gorge. We just ate a late lunch. Now we're splitting off to go check out Cloud Splitter. Cloud Splitter is a bit of a scramble to get to the top.
Why'd you go down? Because she wanted me to see how I did it. Or she wanted to see how I did it.
Spectacular scenery up here near the top of Cloud Splitter. A bit of a rowdy climb to get up here. Definitely not a hike, it's a scramble. Great views though, and right out there is Hanson's Point. A nice diversion out to Cloud Splitter. A fun little climb and a pretty little view. Now we're back on the Sheltoe Trace, heading towards Indian Staircase. We're climbing up towards Indian Staircase. directly across is the Indian Staircase. That is where we're heading to, closing in on this pretty day. This is the cathedral with water dripping down. A little farther down the cathedral, a little more water. This thing is just a massive formation here. There's Frog Rock, and we were just on the other side looking over here a minute ago. The top of Indian Staircase. We're gonna backtrack a little bit and start to look for camp for the night. Home sweet home. We found a nice campsite a little ways up from the top of the Indian Staircase. Right above the cathedral area. We're gonna get set up here and settle in.
The Red River Gorge geological area covers around 29,000 acres, containing over 60 miles of trail and 150 natural sandstone arches.
Let's take a look at the map for day 2. We started at our campsite along the unofficial trail towards Hanson's Point, retraced our steps, hopped on the rough trail for a stretch until it connects with the Sheltowee Trace Trail, which we then followed for most of the day to the suspension bridge across the Red River. We'll go to the next map. Picking up along the suspension bridge, we continued along Sheltowee Trace to Cloud Splitter, where we went off trail to Bag the Top, came back along Sheltowee Trace. We followed that to an unofficial trail that kind of runs in between these two trails through here. That brought us up to Indian Staircase. We followed this unofficial trail around. We're set up camp above the cathedral. Day 2 was about 10 miles. Day 2 of our backpacking adventure in the Red River Gorge has been another great day for us. Really good hiking. We got to see a bunch of different sights throughout the day. There are tons of rock structures and big cliff features here in the Red River Gorge. And I think my favorite part of the day was going up on Cloud Splitter and seeing Hanson's Point we were camped at last night. That was pretty cool. We've got a very nice relaxing campsite here set up above the Indian Staircase Cathedral area. We've got dinner in us and we're settling in for a relaxing evening, the final night of the trip. As long as nothing crazy happens, that'll be the end of day 2. Good night. Good morning. We made it to day 3 of our backpacking trip in the Daniel Boone National Forest, Kentucky. We had a very relaxing night last night. We both got a good night's sleep, and we're finishing up the final day of our trip here today with a few miles out. How has the trip been for us over the past 3 days, Scott?
Well, Lane, it's been fantastic. We've been lucky, every step of the way. When it came to parking, we both lucked out with just the perfect parking space. We've had beautiful weather. All the places that are really busy that I was worried about us getting a campsite, we've been able to get in and just get the perfect campsite. And it's really been a good trip. I wish we had more time because there's so much to see here. But that's the way a backpacking trip goes. I think you always kind of wish you had one more day.
Yep.
But it's been fantastic.
Good. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to explore here in the Red River Gorge, so I certainly hope to make it back one day. About 2 miles out today, we got camp packed up and it's time to hit the trail. Let's take a look at the map for day 3. Starting at our campsite, we're going to follow the unofficial trail to connect with the Sheltowee Trace, take that down to the Bison Way Trail, and out to the Bison Way Trailhead. That'll be about 2 miles for day 3, giving us a trip total of approximately 17 miles. In this area of the Red River Gorge, we've got some really beautiful tall trees in the forest. We're getting our day started. We are going to drop down into the bottom of the gorge and then cut away to the right to head towards the Bison Way Trailhead. Indian Arch, one of the many natural arches in the Red River Gorge. They've been really cool and unique for me to experience on this trip. Finishing up our last stretch of the Sheltoe Trace for our hike. We've got a little less than a mile to go on Bison Way Trail to take us to the Bison Way Trailhead. Yeah. 3 days in the Red River Gorge is done and dusted. It was a great trip. I really appreciate Scott bringing me out here and showing me around this place. Very unique area to hike in. All the rock structures and the arches and the big views from the top of the gorge made for a really pretty trip, and we had a lot of fun along the way. That'll be the end of it. Goodbye.